Hi everyone, my name is Twinkle and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about Singapore Airlines. Yes, if you're someone who has received an invite for a walk-in interview with Singapore Airlines, if you're someone who has been successful in the video interview invite and has been invited for a walk-in final one-on-one interview by Singapore Airlines, then you must watch this video. Also, if you're someone who eyes to become a cabin crew in SIA and wants to know about the interview process, some tips to clear the interview, and what is the whole process going to look like until you become a successful cabin crew with their airlines, then also you must not miss this video. So what are we waiting for? Let's get into the video. But if you haven't subscribed to my channel before, if you're someone who's watching me for the first time, you might want to subscribe to my channel and hit the like and share button if you like this video. Let's begin. So Singapore Airlines came out with their vacancies in early November, and that's when I also made a video about it. If you feel like checking out the online application and the whole form, how does it look like and how to fill it, if you need any assistance, I've also made a video. I'm going to link it here or here. Go ahead and check that out just to know how the look and feel of the form is. Once you're done filling the form, you will be waiting for some time, around 3 to 4 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. You will be receiving a video interview link on a AIRWAYS platform where you will be invited if you're successful. So that could take around 2 to 3 weeks. So what happens in a video interview is this is how your invite will look like. If you're successful, it'll have 4 video questions, 1 written response and 2 multiple choice questions. Make sure you take a note of the type and the number of questions, which I'm also going to discuss in a while from now. The duration, the time of completion, which is around 20 to 25 minutes as written here, and the closing date, which is extremely important. My recommendation is you should attempt it on the second day itself, or at least 1 day before the closing date, just to be safe in case of any UTC time calculations where you miscalculate the time. So just to be on the safer side, you should complete it as soon as possible, because this is also all AI based, and the sooner the better. People who send their applications last minute might also not receive, not all of them might not receive invitations. So just be fast, proactive. I know you all are waiting for the type of questions. Twinkle, what are these video questions? What is this written response all about? Let me tell you the kind of questions you can expect in this video interview. So there will be first 2 multiple choice questions that will be basically seeking your consent, yes or no, if you're okay to be recorded. And the second one would be if you're okay to stand up and get clicked in full. If you have that consent given, then you're all good to go. Once you're done answering these 2 basic questions about your consent, next would be your video questions. The video questions are pretty simple, but 3 tips that I want to give you before we get into the questions is to prepare your answers as per the STAR technique. Now, if you're someone who's new to the STAR technique and you want me to make a separate video about it, let me know in the comment section below and I will make a video about it. So basically, STAR technique involves you to give an example from your past experience, whether it's professional experience or any personal experience, also in case if you are a fresher, just to let them know that you have shown a particular skill or an attribute in the past and you understand what is it like to be in that situation. So in that case, you should be ready with a few examples, or you would be given some case studies. For example, you'd be given an example or a situation, some options, or not even options, it really depends, but they would be looking for your take on that situation. So a few questions, for example, your questions could be, if a customer complains that the meal that you've provided to them is not edible and he is very angry, what will you do? Another question could be like, if a customer refuses to switch off their cell phone during takeoff or during landing or top of descent, then what will you do? If there are 2 customers who are not agreeing to each other and they have a fight with change of seat, how will you solve that position? So all of these questions are again case study, role play based questions. And again, there are no right or wrong answers, but there is a right approach and your thinking behind it about the recent case or incident that has been there. If you would like to behave in that manner, or if you support that thinking, I'm sure you're not going to make it. So just refrain from that attitude, because customer service or hospitality does not work on your personal vendetta or your vengeance. So Also, if you want me to give you a detailed insight, or if you'd like to know my opinion on that case, also let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to make a video about it. Another question that a lot of people are getting in their video invites is video interview is first your biggest achievement, what has been your biggest achievement, and a question about why would you like to join Singapore Airlines, and a question about your introduction. All these questions have been quite repetitive and quite recent. They might change over time, but these are the questions that are being asked a lot in video interview. Tip number 2 would be to get ready in full. If you're someone who thinks that you're not going to be checked top to bottom, I already told you they've taken consent from you during your multiple choice questions that you're okay and willing to stand and get clicked in full. So if you're not ready, forget professionally, if you're not ready in full, that round might not be very successful for you. So get ready as if you're going to attend an interview physically, one-on-one, not online, and be very professional, extremely professional, and look like someone who's taken a lot of effort to get ready. On that note, if you're someone who wants to know what to wear, you have to stick to business formals. Try to choose formals which are made of the same fabric, and try to choose a dark color. Third tip is also quite relevant. Whenever you prepare yourself, make sure that you're getting ready in full. You're properly groomed, your hair, your tie, your skirts, the wrinkles should be in check, the color of your stockings, and the makeup for ladies should be visible. You should have visible makeup. And one tip is when you're on a video, you need a little bit more of the makeup that you're going to usually put on when you are going to attend an interview one-on-one, because on video things look lighter. So first thing is you need to have a check. You need to look at yourself on a video and see if your makeup is looking visible, if it's there or not, and if it's lighter, you must go on second coat and just go a little overboard with your blush, with your base, and your mascara for sure. And don't forget a bright lipstick. Now let's jump on to the written response part. They will ask you to write an essay in 250 words, most probably about why do you want to become a cabin crew, or why do you want to choose SIA, which is Singapore Airlines, why do you want to join aviation industry. So one of the interview questions that you prepare for is going to be in written form to check your written communication skills. Some tips for you is when you're writing, make sure you're making it very clear. You're making small and sensible sentences. You're not making a lot of mistakes. Make sure of the punctuation marks and the commas. All of that are also taken into consideration, and make sure that you are proofreading it. Do not have a lot of spelling mistakes. Last but not the least, stick to 250 words. Let's get to another type of question that you can expect here is reading. Yes, there would be a passage that would be given to you, and you would be required to read the passage to also check your reading pronunciation skills. It is a different kind of test altogether, but I have a few pieces of tips. You can see the kind of passage you can get in your interviews. That's right on the screen now. My recommendation to you is first use intonations. Intonations means the rise and fall of the pitch. So make sure you put a little bit of stress wherever required, and you take time to pronounce your words clearly. Your articulation should be clear. Right? Effective use of punctuations. If you see there is a full stop, there is a comma, put emphasis on it. For example, a flight stewardess approached me and asked, "Can I help you?" with a smile on her face. I was offered a sumptuous array of food from the menu and settled on Caesar salad and sauteed vegetables. A few hours later, I was offered snacks, and I gladly sank my teeth into Cajun chicken sandwich and some crisps. I thoroughly enjoyed the rest of my journey. It was such a memorable experience. So do you see how I was reading it? I was making use of a lot of intonations, and I was putting stress on the words that were required. If there are any full stop or punctuations or a dialogue that is included, I am making sure that it is extremely attractive to be heard. Not to forget, read in a calm and composed and slow pace, like how you just saw me or heard me basically reading it. And one extremely important tip is when you're going to pronounce it, there is some time for you to actually get ready and click on that record button and start talking. Go ahead, have a little bit of practice. Mentally go ahead and pronounce those words quickly and make sure that you're able to pronounce it clearly. You have that time. So be smart, don't be in a hurry. Pronounce those words in your mind as a mental checklist and then go ahead. Be ready already about what you're going to say while you're actually finally recording the passage. Once you're done with this, you'll be finally taken to the last round of the question, which is you'll be asked to stand up and get a full picture clicked. So again, all the tips of grooming and getting ready in full would be very useful in this case. And that's about it. That's how short and crisp is going to be your video interview. Once you're done with your video interview, you might have to wait for 3 to 4 weeks or even a month and a half or so to receive your interview invitations. All the successful candidates will be receiving an invite for the final interview where you will have your walk-in round, and I'm going to tell you about all the rounds and types of questions that you can expect here. Please note, only successful candidates will receive the invites for video interview or a final interview. You will never ever receive any rejection emails, as clearly mentioned by Singapore Airlines on their website also. So don't be disheartened or don't be very hopeful waiting for rejection emails either. Just to let you know that if you're someone who keeps on waiting for a rejection email, you're not going to get it in this case. Now, for all those who have made it into the final interview, first of all, congratulations, because you're going to be attempting an interview with one of the most professional airlines. I really like the airline and you'll be really happy to work with them. So what you can see on your screen now is an invitation of the final interview. What you'll see on your screen is they will clearly give you a date, which is happening on the 9th and 10th of January this time, 2023, in Andaz, in one of the premium hotels of Delhi. And you will be giving your time slots. It's clearly written that you have to come and arrive at least 15 to 20 minutes earlier for the registration. There's a buffer time. Needless to say, you need to be at least 30 minutes prior to your given time. So for example, they've called you at 2:15, they ask you to come at around 2. My recommendation, aim for 1:30 or even earlier to just be comfortable in that space and be more prepared and confident during the interview. If you go ahead and see, they've asked you to confirm your registration by a specific date and a time that is given. Please note it's by Singapore time. So just to be very, very sure, if you're someone who cannot calculate UTC and all of that, just do it as soon as possible or at least one day before the closing date. Please note that they've asked you to get your physical passport for verification and registration. So if you're someone who does not have a physical passport, you might have to deal with a little bit of problem right there. Please note, again, they are extremely, very, very strict and professional about timings, grooming, and the way you look as a whole. Don't forget, they have a very famous uniform trial round, which I'm going to be covering up in a while from now. Also, they've asked you to print and fill up the application form, which is attached. That's quite an extensive application form, which looks like this. You have like around 2 to 3 pages. Make sure that you fill it up completely as per the given recommendations, and if you find a little bit of problem, you might just fill that up then and there. Ask them to help you with it. All the photocopies, all the originals and photocopies of your identity card, birth certificate, your passport, marriage certificate. Obviously, if you're married, a deed poll is if you've changed your name, a deed saying that. Next one is for the entry permit for Singaporeans only, all your educational certificates and your vaccination report. They've also encouraged you to perform a self-administered RAT, which is the rapid antigen test that you can self-perform. And if unfortunately you're tested positive, you have to inform them at this email at the earliest, and that you're not able to attend the interview. If not, then you're obviously lucky, and I am hopeful that you do not test positive. Let's quickly give you a brief about the rounds that you're going to face now. The first round, obviously, as soon as you arrive, is going to be a check, the check of the invitation as well as your forms and your documentation. All of that would be done, and a registration would be conducted. So that's going to be a first thing, followed by an arm reach and a weight check, a BMI check. All of that would be conducted. Right after that, you would be sent to a GD round. Now, it's a debate round in some of the countries where they hire or a GD round. A tip here is they're mostly the questions or the topics that they provide you for a debate or a GD is agree or disagree topics, advantages or disadvantages topic, or like or dislike. So you have to make a choice. if you're lucky, or otherwise they will be dividing the group. For example, if it's a group of 6, they will be dividing it by themselves, giving you 1 minute 30 seconds each, and you'll have to either talk in favor or not in favor of that topic. So just to get you talking and make you more uncomfortable, the topics that you can expect here are: intelligence is more important than beauty. So they will divide you in groups of 3 or 4, and then ask half of them to agree to it and half of them to disagree to it. Another topic that is very common is: money can't buy happiness. A few other examples are: should senior citizens be sent to live in the old folks home or old age homes? Should married couples live with their parents? Should men be the head of the household or be dominant decision makers? Some of the very generic topics. Nowadays you can be asked anything related to digital, social media as well, because that is one topic that has been booming. So you should be prepared, or you should be reading a lot about topics to be more confident. Giving you a tip: agreeing or disagreeing, what you choose does not matter. The way, how courteous you are, how gracefully you do it really matters a lot. So don't overthink about what you're saying. But having said that, don't even go ahead and just go on talking and talking. Some of the tips that I would like to give you here are: first, prepare for your introduction, because they do ask you to introduce yourself for 30 to 45 seconds, or another introduction which is around 60 seconds plus, depending upon the situation where you want to use that introduction. If you have been asked your introduction in a final interview, you obviously have more time because it's a personal one-on-one. However, if you're in a group, in a GD, or you don't have time, you're in a queue, then it has to be short and crisp, 30 to 45 seconds. So you should have 2 versions of your introduction. Having said that, you should also prepare your introduction in Hindi, because that has been asked in previous interviews. So introduction, short, crisp, as well as a little bit elongated or elaborated in both the languages, English as well as in Hindi or your local language, wherever you're being recruited. Second would be to compose yourself. Be calm, think about the topic, prepare a mental checklist, think about what you're going to say, and only then go ahead and talk for a limited period of time. So be calm, get prepared, prepare a mental checklist, know what you're going to say, and then talk about it, but limit your time also. We don't like people who go on and on and on and on and rambling, which is known as rambling. One of my favorite words. We don't prefer rambling. Recruiters don't like rambling. And if you're someone who's not making sense, you're nervous, you haven't thought about what to say, you are not going to make sense, which automatically will get a negative result for you. Having said that, don't be someone who is overdoing things. Don't be always the first one. Don't overpower people. Don't show off or be someone who is good with everything. Yes, don't show too much of confidence. Don't keep on talking. Don't try to be highlighted a lot. That is also not okay. In fact, you should encourage other people. You should be graceful. You should be courteous to the others. You should maintain eye contact, pass smiles to each other, and be cordial. Try to be a part of them rather than not being a part of them and just shining out. Remember, this is not a real debate competition or one of your reality TV shows or some college where you have to shout and express, and your words or your verbal English or your fancy language will make a lot of sense. Rather, how do you put input and how do you make the others feel will matter more. Lastly, if you get an opportunity where they've given you time slots of 2 minutes or 1 minute 30 seconds, please stick to that time. Greet everyone before starting, have an opening statement prepared, have a good introduction, and close it formally. Once you're done with your GD round, and you're selected, which you will be notified in a few minutes, you will move on to their final interview round. In your final interview round, you will each have 15 minutes to get to talking to a panel interview. Basically, there will be more than 2 recruiters or 2 recruiters of a minimum who will be taking your final interview. The questions they would ask would be: why do you want to become a cabin crew? Why do you want to join Singapore Airlines? If you've checked out my basic interview questions, top 10 most interview questions that are being asked, that video, which I'm going to be linking here or here, Do check that out, because that are the most basic interview questions. If you excel in them, if you've experted in them, if you're someone who is confident about all those questions, you will not face problems to utilize the answers at any other questions that are asked to you. Apart from that, they are very famous in asking you questions that are based on your resume, that are based on critical thinking. For example, they might give you a situation and two options that you'd have to tell them why would you want to choose that option. For example, if you're deserted on an island, what would you do? What is your favorite number and why? If you're given a free ticket, where in the world would you like to go and why? Do you prefer black or white? Tell us about a favorite drink of yours. All of these questions are very generic and they don't have an agenda. All they want to know is your thinking. How do you think? One tip is, whenever you're trying to answer these questions, take into account that you are applying for a cabin crew role and your prime focus should be service, safety, and customer first. Once you clear a final interview round, which is extremely easy, next comes your kibaya round, which is your uniform fitting round, where you will have 3 to 4 sets of uniforms and a pair of sandals. You're supposed to choose and fit into one of their uniforms. Then you'll be asked to walk front and back and they'll check you. If you fit in that uniform, you're good to go. However, if you don't fit in their uniform, you will not be entertained further and you will unfortunately be rejected. So one of their criterias of getting into Singapore Airlines is uniform fittings round. The sizes are extremely small, like XXS, XS, and sometimes some of the medium sizes have told me that they've been selected, but a lot of them told me that they were rejected also. So you might want to consider, if you're a size up than medium, then you don't want to waste your time there. Followed by the kibaya round, of the uniform fitting round, comes a skin check, a grooming check, where they would be doing or conducting a very detail-oriented skin check. They would be checking your skin, your neck, your ears, your teeth, basically all the body parts that are visible in uniform, and they are particular about it. To be very honest, if you're someone who wants to become a cabin crew, who's eyeing for this profession, all of these things should be your prime concern. For anyone in this world, grooming should be important, because come on, grooming does decide a lot of things, be it your professional, be it your personal, be it your growth. It does make a difference. If not, at least in aviation, it makes a lot of difference. Specifically in interviews, it shows whether you're interested in how much amount or effort have you put into the preparation and the process. So make sure you're taking care of yourself, you're having a good skin, you're eating good food, right food, you're exercising, and just maintaining a regime. And if you're someone who's planning to get henna done or tattoos done, I have heard that people have been rejected for that also. Basically, that questions your seriousness towards the interview. So don't just have henna or tattoos on your hand. If you're someone who wants to get into it, you might face troubles with tattoos and henna and pimples and scars. Now, people who have a question about how strict are they, it really depends on them. These things are very subjective. Some scars or some pimples or some problems might look okay for someone but might not be acceptable by someone else. Similarly, some recruiters might be a little relaxed, or some airline policies might accept it. However, some might not. It's totally subjective and nobody can do anything about it. But that should not stop you from giving an interview and checking for yourself whether you can pursue this career further in this airline or not. Right? Once you're done with this and you clear all of this, hopefully, all the best for that. Next would be your medicals. You will get your medicals done in your own country. And once you're done with that, you will be called in to Singapore. Now, all this process might take 3 to 4 months or even longer. Whenever you're moving countries, you must expect to wait a lot. Having said that, even in case of a lot of people asking me questions about how many days this process, the final interview process, takes. So as of now, till date, it has always been in 1 day. So we are expecting it to be 1 day only. It has never gone on the duration of 2 to 3 days. Like, not one person has to attend it twice or thrice. But since pandemic, things can change. Policies keep on changing. If there is a change, don't come to me saying, Twinkle, you said day 1. As of now, it is 1 day only. So in case you are booking your tickets and accommodation, although you should always be flexible with it, but for now it's 1 day only. So once you're done with your medicals here, once you're called to Singapore, you'll also be doing your medicals just like how it happens in Middle East. Not just clearing medicals in your own country is enough. You will have to clear the government medicals or the airline requirement checks once you're there in Singapore. It or in any other case in Middle East Airlines also. So it's quite similar. Once you're done with this, also another question that I'd like you to prepare is they would be asking you about your notice period that you might require in case you're already working. If you're a fresher, no problems at all. But if you're currently working in any of the industry, you must be prepared with how much time would you require in case you would have to leave your current job and join Singapore. So the faster the better. Just let them know how much minimum time would you require. If you have very strict policies, require a lot of time, get all those things done beforehand. Just be proactive with it. So yeah, that is about it. That's how your process is going to be. I hope you found this video helpful. That is all the process about Singapore Airlines. If you want me to make a video, or if you have any other questions about what to wear, what to do, what not to do, any other things that you have questions about regarding Singapore Airlines, you know the drill. Please put it down in the comment section below, and I will be back with another video next week. Till then, take care and bye bye.